Good evening from Raleigh, North Carolina on this Wednesday, January the 3rd, 2018, about 30 seconds before 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the time recording this video. And we have a winter storm in progress across eastern North Carolina, just as forecast. Things are beginning to pan out, and finally some snow is beginning to accumulate across the eastern third of North Carolina. And we have water vapor imagery here from our GOES 16, or GOES East, I should say, our GOES satellite that was launched up at the end of 2016 is now moved into its permanent position at GOES East, and of course the GOES satellite standing for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And they are the main eyes that watch over our weather, and we have this high resolution imagery provided by this satellite. And that's what we have here. We have water vapor. You can see the storm beginning to wrap up, some drier air down here depicted by the warmer colors, and then the cooler colors and the greens depicting more moist air. And this is a low level water vapor, and you can see it really beginning to tighten up and getting a kind of a classic comma head shape. And that's exactly what's expected to happen. And as the center of it, if we go forward in time here, is right about here at the latest frame, that'll continue to wrap up, skirt just off the Outer Banks, and move out all the way up the eastern seaboard, up through Maine, up into Nova Scotia, and up into Canada. Certainly a very powerful system. You may have heard all kinds of terms describing this system. It's a bomb cyclone, all kinds of things, but it's a very potent system, and it is giving us a nice little storm with some snow in the eastern half of North Carolina. But I just thought this was a great way to depict how the storms all came together because of some energy up here, and two of those short waves or areas of low pressure came together and brought some snow to Tallahassee this morning up through southern Georgia. I think areas in Charleston got anywhere from 4 to 5 inches of snow, and then the Sandhills of North Carolina earlier this evening. I heard of, I think, a report of 5 inches in southern Pine, maybe 5.5 inches in Pinehurst, areas of Lee County like Sanford. So I certainly arrived a little earlier, and it was not really a surprise, but just kind of surprised in how quickly the snow kind of blossomed in that area, and that was more expected to be a area with lighter accumulations, and that caught people off guard, which was represented by, I think there was a 10-mile pile up, and quite a lot of traffic issues in Moore County in southern Pines and Pinehurst area. But all that aside, the storm's continuing and progressing as expected, and you can loop this loop one more time before I move on to the next slide and see the storm wrapping up and beginning to intensify, getting that classic winter storm nor'easter look, if you will. So taking a look at the current radar, if it loads here. So this is what we've had happen over the past several frames, and you can see there was a heavier band of snow that came through Richmond, Moore, Chatham, Alamance County, all kind of did up really quickly around 7:30 p.m. and began to progress eastward. Another band's formed over Johnston County. I actually live right near the cone of silence here for the KRAX radar that National Weather Service Raleigh uses, and getting some heavy snow here. Both of these bands you have two concurrent bands here that are kind of wrapping, both producing maybe snowfall rates about 1 inch an hour. And this will continue to kind of drift off and move to the northeast overnight, probably tapering off in the Raleigh area by maybe midnight to 2 a.m. in that time frame, and then moving off areas like Roanoke Rapids up here, Ahoskie, Lewiston up here in Gates County. Really probably going to get hammered from this storm and going to get quite a lot. Elizabeth City, also in Chowan, Perquimans, Pasquotank County. Over there's actually a blizzard warning up in, I think, Camden and Currituck County up here. So very heavy snow to come for the folks over there in extreme northeastern North Carolina. But this is, for central North Carolina, this is over. If you are west of this line I'm kind of drawing here by the back edge, once this line passes you, you're done with the snow. So areas like Greensboro, Burlington, Asheboro, Lexington, Troy, Albemarle, Rockingham, Hamlet, Union County, Anson County, all the areas, all of those you're done with the storm. I think West Greensboro got a dusting, East Greensboro got maybe a ½ inch or something like that. So it's very selective, as you can see. This hole's filled in, which was disappointing a lot of people in Raleigh. A lot of my colleagues in Raleigh at NC State were very disappointed by this, but it's beginning to fill in now and finally getting some steady accumulating snow. And to revisit the forecast for Raleigh, they updated their totals, and you can see this kind of hot spot here in Lee County and eastern Moore County and in Hoke County, where that snow came down very quickly and caused a lot of traffic issues earlier. But you can see this kind of lull here where that snow hole formed, if you will, and you can see that still 1 inch or so is expected as this at the least for any of these areas that is still on that radar image that I just clicked off of. If you're still under that snow as of right now, you could probably expect about 1 inch to be picked up at minimum through the rest of the evening if you're in the Raleigh or the Triangle area. The Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill forms the triangle. and maybe areas like Clinton, Goldsboro, Smithfield, Wilson, Nashville, maybe picking up an inch or two. And then as you go farther east in Edgecombe County and Bertie and Martin County, Roanoke Rapids, Greenville over here, that's where you're going to have your heavier snow rates and some more impactful weather. Some areas I would not be surprised to even see upwards of a foot of snow in some of these areas up here where that blizzard watch or blizzard warning, excuse me, is in effect. So one thing you may have also noticed is the wind is very high, and that's kind of the next story here, is that once this move off rather quickly overnight, but the cold air is going to settle right in behind it, and it's going to be very cold and quite, well, not as windy as tonight, but it'll be breezy, making for very cold conditions tomorrow. So here I have just a standard kind of model showing the depicted temperatures tomorrow, and or now going into the future and into tomorrow. And if I advance this in time here, if it cooperates with me, looks like it might be a little slow as it's loading here. But if I skip forward to, say, 8 a.m. after this is all said and done, you can see all of North Carolina is still below freezing, with the exception of maybe some of the Outer Banks communities. This blue shade, the delineation between the blue and the green, is the freezing line. So you can see all of North Carolina is still below freezing. And if I go forward to maybe noon tomorrow, you can see not much changes. We kind of stay in the 20s, maybe some communities down along the southern coast and the eastern part of North Carolina that have snow. I really don't buy this getting above freezing with that snowpack that's going to be left up here, but the cold's going to stay, and the cold's going to stay for several days. And to jump back to our favorite graphic here that we visited on these videos, this is the ensemble mean temperatures, mean high temperatures in this row and the mean low temperatures in this row. You can see now the 9s popping up here, so single digits are possible as we go into the weekend and finish out this week. Actually, at the Raleigh-Durham Airport, we did not get above freezing today, so that continues our streak of at or below freezing, pushing it upwards, I think, of 90 hours now. I didn't count before I started this video, but we're on a very long streak and maybe flirting with some record length cold. The cold itself may not be record cold, but the amount of time spent below freezing may end up being a record. I think the record for RDU is 6 consecutive days, and if we continued Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all below freezing with high temperatures below freezing, that would set a new record of 70 consecutive days, beating out that record. I think it was set in 1982 or something like that. So certainly something to watch. It's going to be very cold. Everything that's falling is sticking right now. You've probably seen if you looked out your window, roads are covered, making for treacherous travel, and it's just going to be a mess. 2-hour delays are in effect for school systems. Lots of things are closed because it's really just going to be, if you have to go to work, you just have to take your time. And brine was put down and roads were prepared, but still be very careful as the snow continues to fall. If it gets compacted by cars, it can become very slick. You've heard this story 1,000 times with driving in winter weather, but just be aware of that and take extra time. You can't drive normally on snow. It just does not work that way. You're not going to have a successful trip to your destination if you drive as if there were nothing there. Do not drive fast. Do not drive over the speed limits set on certain roads. Just take your time. I don't think this is snow worthy enough to put chains on your tires, but just be aware of that. Be mindful of other drivers and just drive safely with that. I also wanted to, this is just another view I had picked out of from the GOES 16 satellite, just showing your storm again, kind of a clearer picture. This is not water vapor imagery. This is a long wave infrared, and one thing I wanted to show, you can kind of see these ripples here, and we call those gravity waves, and I actually have a zoomed in version here that I'll click on now to kind of see these a little bit better. If I can animate this, yeah, if I slow this down, you can kind of see these ripples here, and those are what we call gravity waves. And there's actually been a couple of lightning strikes recorded way off the coast. I'm down like Frying Pan Shoals in this area down here, and some very strong system gravity waves kind of radiating out from the center of this storm. That's a sign of an intensifying storm, and that's clearly being seen as this snow is lingering over eastern North Carolina. And on top of that, I wanted to once again remind you of this Ready NC app, a very good app that I highly recommend for any storm, but particularly with this one. It's great to check the weather conditions are pulled straight from the National Weather Service in Raleigh, real-time traffic conditions for those areas that got hit hard earlier in the Moore County and Hoke County, Lee County, Harnett County, areas like that where it got quite a bit of snow. That traffic condition can be, that traffic feature can be very useful. So be sure to check out that, and it's a very useful app. So just on your on Apple devices, just search in the App Store Ready NC, all one word. It doesn't have to be capitalized like that. Just search it, it'll come up, and it's a great app that I highly recommend you add to your arsenal of mobile weather apps if you do not already have that like I do. I think I have over 20 or something, but this is definitely something I would recommend to add to that. So with that, I will leave, go back to the PowerPoint here. Oh, this, I brought this up just to wrap up the video. This is kind of a summary that the National Weather Service in Raleigh had put out, and it's just kind of rehashing what I said. You know, black ice is very possible over the next few mornings because the air temperature is going to remain so low below freezing. You can see we're not expected to get above freezing in Raleigh, not on Thursday, not on Friday, not on Saturday. Finally, on late Sunday, maybe finally getting above freezing for the first time in about a week. And so a lot of words here, but basically the takeaway is, you know, if I go back to our radar here, any of these areas east of this line right here, you can kind of expect to get maybe an additional 1 to 2 inches of snow here, and then the farther east you go, maybe bands setting up with much higher snowfall rates. But you know, definitely an impactful winter storm in progress. It's going as expected. Maybe a little surprise snow down here, but altogether things are going as forecast, and not much to worry about in terms of any more surprises, because everything should begin to wrap up over the next several hours, and then it'll be very cold for the coming days. But that is about it for the forecast for this storm. As it moves off, it'll bring some very heavy snow up here. It'll be interesting to watch. Hopefully people will be safe in the blizzard conditions up there, but remember to send your snowfall reports to the National Weather Service in Raleigh, or if you're in the eastern half of North Carolina, or the eastern third, I should say, you can send your snowfall measurements, measure on a flat surface that's been undisturbed. Grass isn't the best. Try to measure. It's better if you put something out before the snow, but that obviously won't happen if you are if the snow's already fallen. You can't already put something out, but just take an accurate measurement as possible and go over, and you can send your reports to the weather office in Morehead City or in Wilmington. And that's about it for this video. I think that pretty much covered the system. And altogether, remember to stay safe. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Facebook, message me on Twitter at Andrews WX Center. And remember to make all decisions based solely on official forecasts released by the National Weather Service. And I think that about does it for this video. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to stay warm and stay safe, and send your pictures and snowfall reports to either my Facebook page and I can relay them to the National Weather Service office, or you can do it yourself through their email or their online report form. And with all that, remember to stay safe, stay warm, and I hope that your 2018 is off to a happy and healthy start. Enjoy the snow, and send any reports you have to your local Weather Service office. Take care.